Hi, TikTok. Hello. Come on. Facebook, you don't let me down. Hello. Right, I'm Emma. I'm going to bring you some ideas on how you can create some very low budget and fun interactive things that you've got in your own home. So using everyday household objects and a few ideas of the products that we sell for our dogs and cats anyway. So if you get the opportunity to sign up to our email, that would be great. And then this here is a way to, so everybody, generally, not everybody maybe, but a lot of you will be very familiar with this scene here. This is obviously a delivery box, and this can be a really good fun way of creating something enriching for your pet. So how are you going to do that? You're going to get your box, you're going to save this paper, save the paper that's in here. Don't throw that away, because that's the key part of what you need to get your dog interested. So we're going to create a snuffle box with this basically. So take the paper out, you can leave some in, and get some natural treats. So we're going to sprinkle a few natural treats in here. Okay, I'm going to use our puppy dried meat. That's a small bits of dried meat. This is what we do, nice natural. It's just beef, just dried bits of dried beef. Sprinkle a few of those into the box at the bottom, and then we can then take a bit of the paper and cover them over with it. So that's like the first layer, and you know your dog's going to be able to smell that and they're going to get interested in it. You can even do this in front of your dog, so you know that they're going to be watching and know what you're doing in there. So, and then you get some more bits of paper, so you can cut the paper up, take the bits of paper, shred it up like this, and then just get a treat into each one, and then it's really simple, scrunch and chuck. So in the paper, scrunch it up, chuck it. You can roll it if you want to, you can roll it like this. Your dog might be a bit more interested. You can make it a lot harder for them to get into it by just creating a little package like that. Drop that in as well. A few empty bits of paper, so they have to snuffle around and keep them out the way, and then hand that over. So let your dog go through that, snuffling through. They'll pull this out. You might want to do this outside if you don't want this all over your lounge, but they'll pull the paper out, and then they'll find the treats, and as they pull the treats out, the paper out, the treats are going to drop out, and your dog's going to have a snuffle around, and then they're going to eat the treats that are in there, and then go back and look for more. And it's really enriching, really good for their brains. It keeps them busy, and it really costs you next to nothing for this. So you've already got this at home more than likely. Then they're going to snuffle around, they're going to find all the treats at the bottom, and they're going to enjoy those. So that's a really cheap and easy way of creating a fun, enriching idea of a treat box for your dog. And some people call this a snuffle box. Some people use things like the fabric mats that you can do. You can use a long piece of paper, so you can save up wrapping paper. You're probably gonna need to sort of realise that the paper will go in the bin afterwards, but at least it's getting two uses. So this is another bit of that paper that's in that box when it came with our parcels in. Get your treats, and we're going to roll some up. So you can sprinkle them on. This is the dried meat that I've got here. It's just a really simple natural treat, completely just dried meat, and then roll it up like I suppose if you're making like a Swiss roll or something, you know, Swiss roll with paper. A few more treats, keep going, roll that all up for your dog. You could leave it at that. You could let them have it as a long piece like this and let them work it out, but that would be really easy for the dog. Most dogs would get that straight away. So roll it up and then twist it a little bit and knot it. Twist it in on itself, tuck some of these bits through, knot it. You can do a smaller version of this for cats as well. That's quite good fun. They'll bat that around. Then you're going to take your paper, tuck it in on itself. You could even, when you've got the treats in here, you just take a couple of the treats and poke them in the side bits of the paper, so the dog or the cat gets a good idea it's there. And then that's it. You can throw that around the garden, and they've got to work. They'll raggy it potentially. They'll enjoy playing with that. And then just say it's a really low cost thing that you can do at home. So you can buy beautiful enriching things as well. But this video is really all about creating interesting ideas at home with what you've already got around the house. So we've got paper. What else? You could do a towel. Okay, you could use a towel. So same sort of small treats again. Get your towel, flatten it out. Just happen to have one here. Same idea. You're going to get your towel. You're going to sprinkle some treats along it as you go. Roll them up in it to the edge, and you don't have to give too many because they'll just enjoy the reward of finding it. Okay, so if you roll it up like this, a few more in there, and again we're going to knot it, and you can kick that about the garden and they'll enjoy it. They'll chase after it, they'll raggy it. I would definitely recommend you use a towel that you don't mind the dogs chewing, because they may well chew on this. And then once you've finished with it, if it gets dirty, you can just put it through the wash, then you can use it again. So you could save one of the old towels for the dog to do this sort of thing with. So there you go, it's like in a roll, and then you twist it up again on itself. Then you could just stuff the ends through like that. Sometimes it's a bit easier if you've got a bigger towel, but this one would work lovely for a little dog or a big dog, it doesn't matter. So there you go, it's sort of knotted on itself there. Your dog will have to work out how to undo that. It's fairly easy for them. You could even, if they're not the brightest pup in the world, you could even show them the first time you make it. Even when you're making it, you could show them and involve them in it, so they know what they've got to do. And they'll paw at it, they'll throw it around the garden, they'll throw it around the lounge. You can even drop some treats on it so that it smells more of the treats, and then they know that they're there and they have to find them. And you've got all these little runkles and bits so you can hide some treats in. So I mean, you can certainly buy snuffle mats and lots of fun things like that, but this is a really easy way, and lots of people have got an old towel that they could donate for their dog for this. So oh no, what have I done? Right, sorry, I rolled it off and nearly lost everything. So yeah, that's cheap and easy, and you've got this at home potentially. So another idea, 3 things you've got around the home. Toilet rolls. So once you've finished with your loo roll, you can take your toilet roll, you can use an old bowl like this, and you can chop them in half, and then you can use the paper again and pop your treat in a bit of paper, shove that in there, and they've got to work out to cut it out, pull it out, so it's a bit of a different type of snuffle pop. So you can do that with the paper and the loo roll. Another piece is like this here, just a little parcel made out of the toilet roll. So all this is this cut in half like this here, and then I've just folded the ends in, the edges on itself, and then it just creates like a little parcel. And you can do this for cats as well. So cats probably enjoy finding a treat in this, and you can, throw that across the lounge with a treat in, and the cats will chase after it and bat it about, and hopefully the treat will come out, and the dogs will do the same. So that's quite another easy, almost free way of creating and enriching sort of treat dispenser for your pet. And the reason we're doing this is because when they enjoy it, they really enjoy it. So you want them to be using their brains as well. So it's easy peasy, treat when they've done something as a reward, hand it over, no problem. But if you've got a dog at home that's quite a high sort of brain, quite clever, things like this that you can do for them is brilliant, because it's going to keep them excited, it's going to keep them interested, and it's going to help them to use their brains. So hopefully they'll rest better, because if they're using their brains, you're going to end up with happier dogs, because they have enrichment in their lives. There's other things you can use. Not everything is free, obviously, but it is September now, so consider it when you're out on a walk with your dog. There are absolutely loads of these, loads of them all over the place. I just picked these up back from the back of the unit at the moment, but these are blackberries. Dogs can eat blackberries. They're a nice herb that they can enjoy. And you can have a nice walk with your dog, and they can eat these when you're out. So I don't know if any of you have got dogs and you've seen them picking blackberries, but if they don't, you could always encourage your dog to do it. Not every dog will like it, not every dog will want to, but quite all of our dogs have always enjoyed eating things like these, and they just literally can bring them over and just get them to see what it is, and then show them. And then they're prickly. The dogs need to be careful with that, but most of the Blackberries are on the ends where it's not prickly, and the dogs will very carefully use their little teeth at the front, and they'll pick these off and eat them, and they'll be absolutely fine. So they can have a few of these when you're out on a walk, and it's quite a nice way to bond with your dog. So I would never eat any personally that are below pea height. But the dogs don't care about that, do they, necessarily? You don't always have to take them home and wash them. But I would recommend that you don't eat the ones on the bottom branches, but you could show your dogs them, and they'll just pick these off with their little teeth, and then they'll enjoy a few when they're out and about. And they come off quite easily. That one just came off in my fingers really easily, so the dogs don't have to work very hard at it, and they know which ones to pick. They're the ones that come off, so they're quite clever dogs, really. And it's a nice healthy herb that they can enjoy. Berries aren't so high in sugar, so dogs can have these, and then you can even pick them for free yourself, so you can get them out and about in the countryside all over the place. We're in a quite a countryish kind of area here, quite rural, but you see blackberries in all the parks, don't you? So you can pick them up for free, and even if you've got a pot when you're out and about, or a little tub, take that with you and fill it up and put them in the freezer, and then you've got something else to add to their meals that are a bit more interesting later on. And they do seem to quite like them. So try that if you're out on the walks this weekend, if you get the opportunity to. And then other ideas we've got that we use is like the licky mat. So for less than £10 you can get a small licky mat like this one here. It's about £6.99. And then this like a spreadable pate. This is the one from Arden Grange. They are £2.99 and you get 75 grams in there, and that is a spreadable pate, and you can just spread that onto something like this. And these licky mats are almost, you can use them again and again. You can basically you can use these, spread the treats on them, sprinkle some of the small crumbly treats into it, and you could give it straight away. You could even feed your dog on one of these. If you feed kibble, you can wet it down and you can smoosh it onto a licky mat, and they will then have to lick at that to get the food off, and that makes their meal time last a bit longer. There's other ways. You've got bigger things like a slow feeder bowl, which you can use, this is one of the plates that they do, that licky mat do as well. But that is quite a cheap way of having something at home that you can reuse again and again. So you spread the pate on. Also, these are great if you're feeding a raw diet also. So you can get the mince, like we've got. This is what we make actually, Natural by Nature. We're based in Poole. We actually make raw food, but we supply all the natural treats and things that go with it. So this is one of our packets. It's a bit warm in here today. This is a packet of chicken and beef tripe. That's 500 grams. So part of when you're feeding, you might be putting that in the bowl. If you've got a little bit left over, you can save it and put it onto a licky mat with some maybe natural yogurt, some of the pate, some treats, some of the vegetables. Put it back in the freezer, and then you've got a little snack later on that they can enjoy that's frozen and they have to work at getting. So it's really good, a good boredom buster, they sort of call this as, but actually it's really enriching. So anything that's enriching is really good for their brains and stimulation. So yeah, it's something safe as well, because this is a natural rubber that they make this out of. So it's nothing bad. There's no horrible parabens within this. This has been tested and it is nice and safe. There are loads of other makes out there of this on this idea, but I know that the licky mat ones are a good one. So they're the ones that we choose to sell and use ourselves at home. So yeah, use something like that. Do you feed raw anyway? Because if you do, you may have some stuff at home that you can reuse. So I'm talking about something like a marrow bone. So the beef marrow bones. This is one of those here. This is a packet of the two. These are our large marrow bones. They come in twos, but you can get these generally from lots of raw companies. And these guys here are full of marrow. Can you see that here? Can you see the marrow in there? I'm not taking out the packet today, but this one here is full of the marrow, and then the dog will eat that out of there, and then when they finish with it, lots of people would just throw the bone away. But what you can do, you can restuff it. So what you could do, you take your bone. If it's nice and the dog's already chewed it, so it may be a little bit grubby. If you don't want to do it straight away, just put the bone in a bag and put it back in the freezer. Other than that, take your bone, put the raw mince back in. So say you may have a little bit left over from their meals, that there's too much for them, they're not having it. Put the raw mince back in. You could even do this with kibble again. You could water it, put hot water with it and then put it in. And then put the marrow bone with it filled up with the mince back into the freezer. And then you can feed them again another raw bone, so they'll still chew this here. They'll chew the bone and that'll help to clean their teeth, but also they'll get the enrichment from eating the raw mince out of the bone. So you can do that a couple of times. Okay. Another thing, so if you're raw food, you're probably used to seeing some of the natural treats that you can get out there. So another couple of things you can put food in is this. Here, this is a cow hoof. They can smell a little bit when they're chewing them, I'm not going to lie, but they do seem to really, really love them. You can put mince in here, you can put some yogurt in here. Again, put it back in the freezer so that they have to work hard to get it out again. Or a trachea. So this is a bit bigger than the cow hoof, and you can stuff this full of raw mince and put that back in the freezer. So that's another way of creating a more enriching meal with what they're already having. And this is one of the treats. So this is it's quite hard, so it's going to help to clean their teeth. They'll eat all of it. They can have all of this. This is the windpipe of the cow. Some people call them moo tubes. You might have seen that. But yeah, this is one of the trachea, and it's beef. You can get smaller ones which are lamb, and you can stuff those through, fill with food. You can put treats in there, and you can also put the raw mince in there. So that's a great idea for an enriching way of feeding a meal and a treat together, so that they're not going to be able to eat their meat straight away, because when it's raw, it's quite soft and it's quite easy to practically inhale. So something like this is quite a good way of slowing them down. You can get slow feeder bowls, you can get enrichment plates that you can put them in. Some dogs are really bright and they just flip them over and just tip them out. Other dogs don't. You can put those in the freezer. But this is a cool idea of being able to use a treat to create an enriching meal. So yep, that's those two. And most of you have got one of these at home. So whenever I'm in the shop, people ask, well, my dog eats their food too quickly. I always ask if they've got a Kong, because a lot of people tend to have one of these at home, maybe from an older dog that they've had before and they've still kept it somewhere. Most people have got one of these, or otherwise you can pick them up in pet shops locally. Usually they're all over the place on the websites. We've got them. We sell loads of these things and they're really popular, and nothing's changed with these for years. They're as they were when the guy first designed them. So this is the Kong. It's made from natural rubber. You can put it in the dishwasher. That's why I really like them. You can use this after they've chewed on it. If you think it's a bit grubby, stick it in the dishwasher and it cleans up quite nicely. They might go a little bit white, but it does work in the dishwasher. So the Kong, you can see there's a hole through there. You see that hole? That it means that if the dog's chewing on it, they can still breathe, so that they're still getting air through. So that's what that is. And then what we would do, we'd fill it up with some food, and then they'd have to work to get that out, and they use their feet to hold on to it like this, and they're going to use their tongue to lick the food or whatever you're putting in there out. It's quite bouncy and irregular shaped, so it bounces all over the place as well. So you can send it with the food out in the garden and they can throw it around and enjoy chucking it about and getting the food out. So, but yeah, you can freeze these as well. So that's the other thing. You can use this in the freezer, and then you put the food in, freeze it again, and that's a good way of making all their meals last a bit longer. So I don't know if any of you have tried something like that, but let me know if what other things that you've used at home to create more enriching meals for your pet. I went over earlier the snuffle boxes. That's a great idea. If you want me to show you that again, I can definitely bring that across. And then we've talked about feeding, when you're out and about, you can feed the Blackberries. Dogs really quite enjoy that, and you can interact with them and do that at the same time. And we've got the other option, other treats as well. You can, other toys, if you've got toys like this, you can put a little bit of a treat in there, like the dried meat that we've got. You can just sort of clip it in, and then they have to work to get that out. So that's just a ball that you throw and it floats, floaty ball, but you can reuse it for things like that, put some treats in it. And that's, again, they have to find the treats and get them out and make sure they enjoy it, and they have to work at it. So there's loads of different ways that you can create enrichment within your own environment, and things that are free. So that's what I've done mostly, gone over things and ways to feed things that are already in your home. Yep. So, another thing is nice. So, like we did the blackberries. Blackberries are herbs. Dogs quite enjoy choosing their own herbs as well. So you can create an enrichment patch in your garden with different herbs in that are safe for pets. Do a bit of research. Have a look online and find out what are safe, what you can put in. But some dogs really enjoy that, because I think lots of people will relate to your dogs going out and eating grasses. And that's because they're looking for something in that grass. It might be that, it might be that, oh, thank you for sharing the live. It might be that the dogs are looking for something within the grass and they're getting something from that. They can't really chew their food, so quite often they'll eat grass and then they stick it up. But there's a reason for that. They eat it to bring stuff up that they might be feeling a bit uncomfortable with. So they're very clever. They really are. So you could also get some grasses. You could do some herbs in the garden. I've seen people do this for horses as well. They create a herb patch by the stables, and the dogs go and sniff them or enjoy them. So there's loads of things that you can do at home for your pets to create an enriching life for them. I think that's probably everything. If you want me to go over anything again, then please say. But yeah, make sure you keep your boxes when they come in. Save them, like this one here. When they get delivered, save the paper and use that as a fun way of interacting with your pet by hiding the treats in here. So put the treats in the paper, hide them in the box, scrunch it up and drop it in, and then your dog has to work out where the food is or the treats are, and then it gives them a good 10 minutes maybe of enrichment by snuffling through this. So that's great fun. You can make your own snuffle mats. You could use things around the home. So we went over earlier, you could use something like a toothpaste box. Cut that into a few pieces and scrunch it up and put some treats in there. Might be a bit harder for the dogs to open than the paper. You can use toilet rolls. So there's loads of things you can do. Create a little parcel with the toilet roll by cutting it in half and then folding the tops, the bits that you've halved in, and then basically you use that to put the treat in, hide the treat around in that, throw the treat around. You can do that with cats as well. So hopefully that's given you some ideas for today, and thank you for joining me. If you've got any questions, pop them on there quickly and we'll go over those. Other than that, I'm going to go. It's Friday. It's the air show. We're in Bournemouth. So it's the air show this weekend in Bournemouth. So if you happen to be down in the area, all of our stores are still open. We have got shops in Dorset, so that's where we are. I know that on places like TikTok there's people all over the world, but if you happen to be down here in the Dorset area, then come and see us. We've got 4 shops locally. We've got at Upton in Poole. We've got one at Wimborne, which is basically Pamp Hill, which is up the road from Wimborne. And our company is Nurturing by Nature. We've got one at Christchurch, and we've also got one at Westmoors. Westmoors is basically sort of between Ringwood and so Ringwood is in Hampshire, so it's on the sort of Hampshire-Dorset border, so Westmoors is there. So if you happen to be down this way, do come along and see us, because we've got loads of raw food, loads of natural treats, lots of nice enriching ideas, and like I've gone over here today, I've given you some ideas of things that you can do at home for free without having to spend out any money. So save the boxes, save your toilet rolls, and then you can use them to enhance your pets' lives. Have a good one.